Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm here with my friend Buck. And today we're going to talk about putting some fun back into the dysfunctional. And I'm going to interview Buck about some of his struggles with anxiety. But first, I wanted to ask you, Buck. Oh, the other thing is, Buck and I have known each other since we were in like seventh grade. So this is a long term relationship. I've known him through a lot of times. He is, you know what? I'm going to say something about Buck first. Buck is one of the most talented, intelligent, sort of extraordinary people I know. And it just pains me so much that you struggle so much with some of this stuff because I think you accomplish amazing things even through all your struggles. And I know you would accomplish even more if you didn't have to struggle through things. So I just want to say that. But anyway, I wanted to start today by saying, Buck, what was your most dysfunctional thing that happened this week?
I just haven't been able to get out of bed, and I just want to sleep all the time. So
Yeah.
it's just a depression and a disappointment. So that would be mine. What is yours?
My most dysfunctional thing is that I probably fallen this week about 5 times, just because like I tend to move faster than my legs want to, and then I end up falling, and it pisses me off. And um, the other thing was like, so I bought this stool that I thought I was going to be able to use to like cook and things like that because I can't really stand very long, and
Right.
it's too high. And when I tried to put it together, I couldn't. I had to have my husband help me, which kind of pissed me off. And then it's too high, and I keep like it like slips out from under me, and I end up landing on my butt. So my butt's
Oh,
all bruised up. So that was probably it. So my dysfunctions are physical. Yours are emotional. But today I wanted to take charge because I know you haven't been feeling great this week, and I understand that. So I'm going to interview you about some of the anxiety that you've experienced it and things like that. So my first question was like, when did you first? I know it's been a really long time, but when did you first kind of realize that there was, what kind of how did anxiety first manifest itself for you?
well, when I was little, and I was always worried about the home situation, what was going to happen next. That
Yeah.
was a big thing. What was going to happen next? And um, at school, grade school, in Catholic school, just the nuns hitting kids, and my brother was always in trouble. He was always in the priest's office, and it just
It started out as just
very
worry.
kind
Yeah.
of violent, you know.
Yeah.
And so I always I would fall asleep with my ear against my door. I would actually listen to try to hear what was gonna kind of come down the pike, so to speak, and
Yeah.
so that was it, and it developed into OCD.
Okay.
So
Well, so
when
it started as situationally, you had worries because of things that were actually happening. So it didn't start as like that wasn't anxiety so much, it was just worry. I mean, it was like situational anxiety and then it turned into more. So how did the OCD start manifesting itself first?
well, I think the OCD came from. I mean, obviously, I had it, but it reared its ugly head in trying to get some control of my life. So if things were, I still do
Right.
it when things are asymmetrical. It makes me incredibly crazy when numbers just pop into my head. So when I was a little kid, I had to say uh, like seven Hail Marys or seven Our Fathers. And if I forgot what number I was on, I had to go back because it could never be six because six is the devil. And
Got it.
so, I mean, people laugh about this, and I kind of laugh at some of the things I did, but it was also a lot of the anxiety was trying to pretend it wasn't happening, to
Right.
show that I was normal. Because my mother would say things like "you're crazy" and stuff like that, and I understand that she was called crazy a lot. Um,
Yeah.
so it was coming from her, and I really wanted to pretend or show that I was okay. But meanwhile, I was turning the light switches off and on like so many times, and I had to touch the wall, and everything had to be like in order. I used to, yeah, as a little kid, I was thinking of this last night, watching something with somebody in their teddy bear, and I remember that I had names for all of them, and I used to line them up on my pillow, and then I would get like just a little piece of the pillow.
Yeah.
And it would make my mother crazy. She was like, "You're gonna fall out of bed. You're gonna fall out of bed," and I would fall out of bed. But I had like tiger, kangaroo. I had a kangaroo and a baby kangaroo. I had bunny, which was this blue Easter bunny. I got one for one. It was just
Yeah.
falling apart. And I had all these things, but they had to be lined up, or I couldn't
Yeah.
go to sleep. And I had to say so many prayers. I had to pray for like an hour because then I thought it'll stop the bad things from happening and stuff.
Right.
And
Right.
in many ways, I'm still there,
Yeah.
and I'm just tired of it. And people go,
Understand.
well, if you attack something that you're afraid of, then it's better. With me, that is never the case. There's always something next. It's just like I took care of that, and this pops up.
Hmm.
Here it comes. This thing to worry about now. There's always something to worry about. I thought it was interesting what you were talking about earlier. What you mentioned is that's not worry, that's anxiety. I think worry and anxiety are exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anxiety is worrying incessantly.
Right. Yeah.
You
No,
can't
but
stop.
I
You
meant more
can't stop.
like it was there was a reason why you started to worry because you had a situational worry. So like I know like you might like so I might worry that like if I'm planning an outside party that it might rain and I worry about that. When it becomes anxiety, it becomes like how can I worry enough or what can I do to think
Right.
about this in a way that'll make it not happen. That's when it became true anxiety disorder.
Right.
And it also became the obsessive compulsive stuff, the OCD stuff. So yeah, worry is definitely part of is part of anxiety, but anxiety is like it's like worry's a little brother or precursor to anxiety. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
my mother had it. My mother had it really, really bad. She worried all the time.
Yeah.
And I told myself I would never do that, but it turns out that's what I do. I
Yeah.
just worry all the time. And you're
Yeah.
talking about like going through your head, like,
All the stuff that could go wrong.
yeah, you're trying to replay it or
Right.
play how you think it's going to go. How is it going to go? And then you're looking for some little sort of not a strategy, but elements that could get you what you want or get you out of a situation. And
Yeah.
the bad thing is that every once in a while, not every night, but every once in a while, you do come across that one thing. You're like, oh, and that's dangerous because then it makes you think that this is a good
That's
thing
gonna
that you're
always
worried
happen.
about.
Yeah, it's
But
gonna
when you
fix
can't go to
everything.
sleep, I mean, I started this new medication. It's better, but it's
Good.
starting to slip. I mean, this week I felt like I was falling again, and it's a real feeling. It's not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you actually feel like the breath is taken out of you, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but it's not as bad as it was.
People don't understand that like like mental illness when you have a mental illness it's not just emotional it really lives in your body too. I mean it starts in your brain and that's why we say it's a mental illness or emotional illness, but it definitely your brain affects your body, and so it definitely makes you uncomfortable in your body as well. It's not just I can change my thinking. I mean, that's that is definitely a helpful strategy, helpful therapy, all those kind of things. Cognitive behavioral therapy is extremely effective for a lot of things. But then there's also things that just can't like be changed just by thinking differently, and sometimes you can't think differently because it's your brain is its
Yeah.
own like little piece of equipment in there doing things.
I mean, I'm 63, going to be 64. I think I've tried all my life with all the different therapists and everything,
Yeah.
and psychiatrists and all kinds of medications. And it's just, I don't think it's ever going to go away. I just
Just
don't.
make it less
I,
horrible.
yeah, I want to kind of just be done with it. Just be
Yeah,
done with the whole
I
thing. And that's
understand.
kind of where I've been this week. I feel also people with anxiety, for me, but people with anxiety, you work towards something and you get so close, like I did
Hmm.
last week, getting this, and then you don't get it. Your
Right,
hopes are built up.
right.
You got a really good shot. Blah blah blah. At the last minute, they went with somebody else, and it's just
Yeah,
like then that voice in my head says, "You're not good enough. You're never
right.
going to get anything. You should
Instead
just
of
give
like you
up."
just didn't fit the profile that they wanted or whatever it was. Yeah, acting
It
is,
was the
you know,
producers, and it sent me into a tailspin.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe I should just not even audition anymore. But the thing is, I have been called back 3 times since I've been
Huh.
here. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a good thing.
Law of
And
averages.
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
putting a hold so that the producers can look at 2 guys in the
Right.
same role, and that's suggested by the casting director, and then I don't get it. And
Yeah.
it's just like, I really
That's
could use
very
this money.
frustrating.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to do the right thing. I have all these dental issues now, and I I just want like something. I texted you last week. I just want
Yeah.
something good to happen. I
Yeah.
need something good to happen
And you
so that
deserve
I
that.
can have a confidence boost. And I
Right.
just feel like I'm just sitting here in the mud, churning my wheels, not doing anything. And a lot of it is the feeling is, why bother? I
Yeah.
mean,
I can
I'm still
understand
going
that.
to have this head that keeps me awake at night and during the day, and just goes around and around and around and around, and I can't stop it.
Yeah.
you know and it's
With
a plague. It's a plague for people who have it. you know
absolutely. Yeah. And there's all kinds of thought stopping tricks and things you can do, but it's because it's brain based, it's not necessarily going to always be effective. Yeah, I know that's one of the reasons why my nephew, who went to 4 year college, is in a an acting program and got this degree in theater, and he's like, I'm not going to be an actor. I'm the auditioning process and the waiting and the
yeah,
wondering, that's way too anxiety provoking for him because he
yeah,
runs anxious, and so he's still in the field, but he's
yeah,
behind the house instead of in front of the house.
yeah.
And so I
Well,
understand.
I'm not pursuing it. It's just that the last 2 weeks I've had so many auditions and
Right.
callbacks that
Right.
it's like, wow, maybe
Yeah.
this is going to
Well,
work.
so
And
it's
then,
like maybe it's gonna happen. Yeah.
yeah, and I thought, oh, I'm up for this, and now I'm up for this, and then now it's just radio silence, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so
That's
I'm
not that's
wondering if
frustrating.
maybe this is not the thing for me. But I do like, and I've been thinking about that, but I really do like when I actually get the part
Yeah.
and I
When you're
actually work.
good.
I
Yeah.
really like that. I feel like I'm really good at it and I work. It's
You're.
just getting the parts. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
they say, well, you have to break in and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
I just want
Yep.
to,
You've broken in. You don't want to have to
yeah.
break in again. Yeah. I get it.
The
So
other
go ahead.
anxiety is, the getting my teeth fixed. I have to get my teeth fixed because the anxiety actually made me grind my teeth when I
Right.
didn't know I was doing it. Even during the day, I would catch myself, and I
Yeah.
ground down the top front teeth. Yeah, I've just broken them off,
Yeah.
and so it's going to be like $6,000 to have it
I
done.
know.
So
Yeah.
I have to get a loan. I'm going to try to do that tomorrow. But it's like, you know, it doesn't hurt yet, hurt, but it's getting
Yeah.
there.
It's just uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was thinking the
Pain.
other day,
Hmm.
2 days ago when I went to the gym, because it's really cold and it's been snowing. It's not really thick, not really deep. It's just messy,
Yeah.
and you have to put your boots on and you have to like go to the gym, which is, it's not that far away, but in the winter it feels like it's far away. And you have to go there, you have to take your boots off, you have to be sure to bring your tennis shoes, which I forget
Every
50%
time. Yeah.
until I get there, and I'm like, God. So I have to, because I have them in a separate little bag. Then you have to take everything off,
Hmm.
out at the gym, and then you have to like put everything back on, and then put your boots on, and then go to and it's just like, oh my God. So, and I was like bitching and moaning, and I did have this moment where I was like, God, I hate walking in this shit. And I had this moment where I said, well, Amy would love to be able to walk in this shit,
Thanks. Yeah.
and kind of,
It's truth.
and
Well,
it's
you have a
just,
right to be uncomfortable, just like everybody else, and they hate it. And it doesn't mean you have to go. I mean, what that is a way to say, well, thank goodness I can do this, and I'm happy I can.
I just really went into, and I'm still in this sort of deep depression, kind of
Yeah.
just like, what's it all for? That kind of thing. I'm just done. They've got to do something really about mental health, and it's got to be a little stronger. And
Yes.
it should be in accompaniment with your regular doctor and your dentist. Like, it should all
Hmm.
be together,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that you have to have a
Holistic.
full, right?
Yes. Moralistic. I agree. I agree. I think that collaboration doesn't happen nearly enough. And the only time, a lot of times, the way that you can get that is if sometimes in community mental health, and I don't know about Canada, so there's some community mental health places that will provide at least a part-time psychiatrist. We talked about this before, that will come in and do clinics, and so that people don't have to chase down their own psychiatric medications or find somebody. But the problem with that is that when you're done with services at those places, then you're done with being able to use the psychiatrist, because
Right.
you can't just have a psychiatrist continue to see like old clients when you have new clients. You need that service too. So, so yes, it's terrible. This country, and I don't know about Canada, but this country in particular, their medical system is we're horrible about that kind of stuff, and it would be very nice if everybody could work together. I agree, like dentists and stuff. I talked about last week that when I had the shingles, my regular doctor and my neurologist and my ophthalmologist were all talking to each other. And that
Right.
is so unusual. And I was thinking how wonderful my doctors were because they were doing that. And it ought to be standard. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be that, like, I just happen to have really good doctors. And so they're working together, they're collaborating. It should be that that's just standard and normal. And it is horrible that that's not the truth.
Well, and what we said before is you are your best health advocate.
Yeah.
So my HIV doctor, when I go, I actually have an appointment next week, which I'm really happy with the real doctor, like
Hmm.
the one that I started with. Um, but you have to bring it up
Yes.
because these are regular doctors, or in my case, an HIV doctor who's also my general practitioner, and it's like I have to bring up the mental health stuff,
Right.
and I'm
Because
going
they
to
won't
do it
know otherwise.
because what I've encountered, and we've gone through this, is I've gone to the oh, we don't do that agencies.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the name of your agency? Oh, we don't do that.
Right. Well, then I'm
Okay,
not going to
this one does. No, I went over there and they said, we don't do that. They said,
Right.
you do that. And they're like, well, we don't do that. And I'm like,
That's frustrating. Yeah.
I know. It's like, so what do you do? Do you know what you do?
Yeah.
Do you even know what you do? I mean, like the psychiatrist, the HIV, do you even know what you do? You know?
Yeah.
Because from what I can tell, every time I come in,
You
you can
say we
see me
don't do
right
that.
away because you have no other patients,
Right.
but you're paid to sit in your office all day as a
Right.
psychiatrist. So I don't know how that is working. It's just like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm,
My experience, I've known some really good psychiatrists. I can't say they're all like this, but my experience is that psychiatrists want to know what your symptoms are and they want to give you meds. And
yeah,
they're not there. There are some psychiatrists who will do the therapeutic piece too, and kind of think about that and talk about that. But there's an awful lot of them that just want to know what your symptoms are and they want to give you meds and then monitor your meds, and that's it. You know, so they
yeah,
don't
but
do things like,
therapy should be an accompaniment with that. And
yeah, absolutely,
I'm supposed to get a therapist in like, I don't know, 3 more months, 4 more months.
wow.
And people say, "Oh, well, it's Canada." No, actually,
No, it's
in
like that way
New
everywhere.
Jersey, it took forever,
Yeah,
forever, and it was because of one person who was diligent. And I went through the person that was fired, went through all of her stuff and found me
yeah,
and called me because I had called there several times. But when you're associated with this one social worker therapist, no, the other ones don't want to see you or they don't have any record of you. Evidently, they only had records. I don't understand why they don't have electronic records,
yeah.
but they don't
Well,
have any
for
record of
therapy,
you.
it's privacy issue. But
Yeah, but
it would be good if there was some kind of universal way to kind of
uh,
log in. Have
but
it be more
that took
available.
over like a year and 3 months to get a
Yeah,
therapist.
that's crazy.
And when I got her, she was great. And
Right.
then you found out you could do virtual, and that was even better because they didn't
Yeah.
want to drive. I'd rather be in person,
Yeah.
but if it's like a half-hour drive, avoiding that, then
Yeah. Then
you know,
virtual is fine. Well, you can do hybrid. I have some clients who I see, like virtually most of the time, but then they come in too sometimes.
yeah,
So just depending on where they're going to be and whether, but it is more effective. I find it much more effective to do in person. I don't find, I mean, I have a couple of clients that I only see online and it's good, but it took longer. It felt like it took longer to get a groove and it
right,
just doesn't have the same kind of impact that in person can have, you know?
yeah.
So I agree with that. So it's difficult to get services, and that's a problem. Pretty much, it sounds like pretty much everywhere, and definitely here. And I know, like with like BetterHelp and some of the telehealth platforms that are out there, I think it's easier to pick people up. But what I also know is that they pay terrible, and so a lot of therapists will start there to kind of get their foot in the door and get some clients, but then leave those platforms because they just don't pay you anything. You
Yeah.
know. So that's the other part. And insurance too doesn't pay well. And so and they make it super hard to get paid through that. And I quit taking insurance, and I know more and more people who quit taking insurance. And I don't charge much. I charge like about half of what the usual and customary is here because I can only make so much money anyway because of disability
Yeah.
and it's just difficult. So I want to. I'm not trying to make money really. I'm trying to like see people because I think I'm good at that. You know.
Yeah.
So, but
No,
I
it
don't want
keeps
to do
you.
those. I don't want to do BetterHelp or any of those kind of places because I just
No, I
don't
mean
think
it
they.
gives
And I don't
you.
want to call out. I mean, you might want to block out that bleep out that name. I shouldn't say disparaging things. BetterHelp is fabulous for people who need to get therapy quickly. I'm not going to say anything wrong with that, and I know there's a ton of really good therapists on there. I just don't think they pay very well. When you're in high school, because we were really good friends in high school, and when you're in high school, you're very self-centered. Like it's very hard to see outside of things. So I would never have said, "Oh, Buck has these issues," or we kind of knew some of the crazier people, and who were kind of the ones who had problems, but basically among our friend group, we didn't like notice that kind of stuff. So how did it manifest when you were in high school? Because I never
Oh,
saw
it
it.
got worse. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah,
It was really bad because I was always fighting with my mother.
yeah,
So my brother had just kind of checked out. So I guess he was smoking pot all the time or something. I don't know. He was just wasn't there.
yeah,
I didn't really have much to do with him. I just fought with him because he made fun of my friends, my queer friends. My oldest brother moved back
yeah,
from the Air Force, and he lived with us for a while, which was even worse because my whole family is right wing. So it's like,
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, I actually don't think my father would have voted for Trump. I mean, my father had like standards and,
yeah,
you know, but, he thought Nixon was really great. So he didn't understand why he had to be removed. So, but he was very commonsensical
yeah,
about
yeah,
um, politicians and what they do and stuff like that. So that that I liked the discussions with him,
yeah,
although I hated when he would just say, "Well, I'm right because I'm right." How do you even argue with that? And then
yeah,
my mother just became more insane.
yeah,
And I think when she got a job at Tolson's, that was good
yeah,
because she was happy doing that, selling cosmetics or whatever like that. And but she just really started in on me, and that's when I really started doing all the after school stuff that I could do.
yeah.
And the only way to appease her was to get these parts in the musicals. That seemed
And
to make
she,
her happy and get my name in the paper for other stuff. And
yeah,
you know, really looking at going to college and taking college prep courses and meeting with, I'm one of the few people that actually really met with my, career counselor
yeah,
at school. I mean, I really wanted to know exactly what I needed to do to get money to go to school because I knew I was going to school. And then the summer before I went to school was just horrible because I had to work all the time. And um, I was doing like two jobs. And my mother was just, I guess she didn't want me to leave, or I don't know what it was. But I can't tell you how many times she said to me, "I wish you were dead."
that's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was pretty much and when I was 16, 17, I tried to kill myself. I took all these pills. I don't know if I was really trying to kill myself, but I just couldn't take my family anymore. I
yeah,
couldn't take the pressure. And high school, there's a lot of pressure too. And, you know, I was popular, but I wasn't the popular. I was like right on the outskirts of, like student
yeah,
council and all the stuff that I really wanted to do because I like government. But it's just like I was let in a little bit when I was the exchange student that they did for a week, you know.
yeah.
So they had, you know, high school seniors had uh, got chosen by the student council to go. Like I went to Mexico High School in Mexico, Missouri.
Yeah, yeah, I know
And
it sounds like I went to Mexico. No, Mexico, Missouri.
I
Yeah.
think in high school, these larger school, well, I mean, grade school too, you wonder where you fit in. What is your rank? Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's even worse now, must be worse for high
Ah,
school students with social media.
yeah.
Because we used to wonder what people were thinking about us and, what they had
Yeah.
said about us. And you go,
Oh,
what
yeah.
this? What it? Now it's just, it's all there. It's
Right.
all in your phone,
Right.
and people can be so brutally nasty
Oh,
to
horrible.
you
Yeah.
on the phone. I mean,
Yeah.
on the
Oh, it's so
internet.
easy to like be obnoxious when you can't see the other person's reaction. And you can
Yeah.
write something, like you look like, da da da, and or that person looks terrible or whatever it is, and they don't they say things to people online that they would never say to them in real life.
People, you have to look at they're being defensive because there's something going on with them.
Right. Of
And
course.
they're
Of
anxious
course.
about something. And usually in high school or college or grade school, it's where do I fit in?
I agree. I think that's a big part of what happens in that area. I think I got protected somehow. I think everybody saw me as like this like kind of I don't know, but I feel like I got protected from a lot of things. Like I didn't get invited to the drinking parties and things like
I
that.
know, well, those parties were to get people to like you and to,
Right.
spend some time with your friends, but mostly to get people to like you. Like you had this party, and
Yeah.
and then there were the people that just had the drinking parties.
Yeah.
You knew the keg parties that you knew they were always out in Holt Summit or St.
Yeah.
Martin or Brazil.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, they're always out there in some field or something. I just
Right.
remember walking through fields, going, "God, where is this party?" You know.
Yeah. I
But
never
you had
had
to
that
be.
experience. I was
I know
way
because
too straight.
you were protected. You were very,
I was.
yeah, you were everybody's little sister. I think.
Yeah. What were the things that helped when you were younger? What helped? I mean, you had your alternate moms. They helped. What else were there other things that helped? I mean, were being in the shows and those kind of things were they helpful to make you
Yes,
feel better?
because I was doing. If I'm doing something and I'm really concentrated on it, and it's something I really love to do, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's not being able to do right now the things I want to do, which
Right.
is to act and do these things, do these projects. But
Right.
that helped. It also helped to be able to talk to like Mrs. Sankpill and
Right.
Mrs. Bennett and Mrs. Weiss and Missy's mom, Betty, and Stephanie's mom, Jenny, to
Yeah.
be able to talk to them and have kind of a second mom kind of thing. I
Yeah.
didn't really talk about what was going on. I was just able to
You just wanted to talk.
talk and be because I think a lot of it is I didn't ever felt listened to.
Right.
I would say something and my mother I'd say, "Oh, mom, look, I did blah, blah, blah. I did
Yeah.
this."
People
And
who
she
you
goes,
are. Yeah.
"Did you really brush your teeth?" And you're like, "What?"
Is that what's? I just told you I have these
Yeah.
feelings, and you're asking me if I brush my teeth. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
And the other
Yeah.
thing was, don't get too happy. There's always something around the corner ready to kick you in the head.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Great.
so that's why I have anxiety. Will I ever get rid of it? Probably not. I
It's just
tried
like
the
man.
meditation, but the meditation doesn't stop my head. The only thing that stops my head are drugs or beer,
Yeah.
which isn't great. But I need a break from it once in a while. And when I
Yeah.
fail, like I felt like failed this week, even though my ex keeps telling me, you got this close and you did all this stuff, so you should feel good about it, but not in my head. No,
Right.
sir, not today, Satan.
Yeah.
It's my
Well,
head.
this is one of those things that's like, of course, it makes sense. They did some research on it, and one of the things that's a problem is one of the worst things that you can do is feel bad about feeling bad. So it's about forgiving yourself for being in a body that doesn't function the way you need it to.
Right.